I'm Joe Wallace for GearWire.com. We're at Musikmesse in Frankfurt, Germany, and I'm here at the Novation Focusrite booth with Rob Jones, and we've been talking about Liquid Mix 2 and EQ, and I wanted to ask you a few questions for beginners who are just getting their feet wet with EQ, and a tool like Liquid Mix Tool 2 is excellent, but when you're first fumbling around with EQ, there are a lot of mistakes you can make. How can a newcomer avoid some common EQing mistakes?
Yeah, well, it can be quite daunting, I guess, because you do have so many different emulations to choose from and so many different bands. And fortunately, we've just actually released this thing. I think it goes live this week, and it's two separate assets pages on the website. If you go to the Liquid Mix one, first of all, you can read a guide to EQing. It gives you a basic rundown of different types of EQ you get, how they work, how you can use them to do different things. And then also we have different snapshots. That's actually one thing I didn't show you when I did my rundown, but you can save all of your settings, the particular compressor, compressor emulation, EQ emulation, all your different band settings. You can save them in a specific snapshot and then reload them at a later date or email them to a friend, all that kind of thing. So we've actually created our own, and we're going to put them online so you can download, so you can see just how we kind of recommend you would EQ a vocal or EQ some drums or EQ various parts like that. So that'd be a great start for people who want to learn how to EQ and or just want a starting point or maybe some advice. So.
How did you train your ear to properly EQ and fine-tune an audio track? What does it take to be able to learn how to hear these things properly so that you can interpret what you hear and make corrections where necessary?
Well, I had fairly specialized training. I did a course called the Tonmeister course in the UK, where you have technical ear training and you sit in nice booths where they teach you about different EQ techniques and all kinds of different sonic stuff. So, but I think it's just about experience. I mean, if you just play around with things, you'll get used to things pretty quickly and learn what you like most. And it's also important to have a good pair of speakers or a nice pair of headphones or something. But yeah, practice makes perfect, really, I think.
What frequencies do you think are the biggest problem frequencies in a home studio setting where you've got common issues with semi-pro and amateur recordings?
It's a difficult one to answer, but I know a lot of tracks can be ruined by being overly honky if kind of the mid frequencies are too prominent. And I think people need to learn to cut just as much as boost. I think a lot of people will start boosting everything and have lots of band pass filters put over various things. But if you just learn to amplify and then amplify a signal and find out the frequencies you don't want as much as the ones you do, and then start cutting them and just really play around and get used to a few things. Yeah.
Now, a lot of people thought that with the advent of digital, that things like tape noise and hiss and those kinds of problem frequencies would go away, but now with the return to analog synths and tube preamps and things like that, the potential for those kinds of frequencies to start creeping back into your mix is there. And what advice would you give to somebody who's got a noisy stomp box or a noisy keyboard? What frequency range do you look for to pull that noise out of your mix?
That's a tough question. I would say, I'd say if it's noise that's sort of all around, that's quite difficult to reduce. I mean, you can always reduce the higher frequencies and try and get rid of some hiss, but you're running the danger of losing clarity over the mix and various kind of fairly valuable sonic characteristics. So it's quite a tricky thing to answer on the spot.
So just play around with the Liquid Mix and find what works for you, basically, is what you're saying.
That's definitely what I advise, yeah.
Okay, great. We've been talking with Rob Jones of Focusrite and Novation. I'm Joe Wallace for GearWire.com at Musikmesse in Frankfurt, Germany.